Hello plant lovers, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my fastest growing houseplants right now, and just for some context, I live in the UK, we're just at the start of summer here. It's currently not exactly really hot, we're getting some really hot days, but a lot of the days are a little bit cooler too. I know some people in the UK are a little bit disgruntled about that, but I quite like it a bit cooler. But yeah, these are the plants that are growing fastest for me in my conditions. It might be completely different for you. I'd be really interested to know which plants are growing well for you and whereabouts in the world you're from. So let's get into it. So the first one is this Maranta, and honestly this one for me, not only does it grow quickly in summer, it does grow in winter too. So yeah, this one for me, as you can see, it's getting quite out of control. This one is probably one of my fastest growers for sure, and it just keeps putting out leaf after leaf. I also recently propagated this one and added more plants into the pot, so now it's kind of even more full. And yeah, it kind of grows in a strange shape, I think, but yeah, I kind of like it. But yeah, this one just, it does not stop. It just grows and grows and grows. It just puts out leaf after leaf. And I'd be really curious to know if you also find this to be a fast grower as well. Another super fast grower for me is this Tradescantia Purple Passion. I haven't actually had this one for very long, but it just is prolific in how it's growing. I bought this one quite small, and this is a trailing plant, so it does eventually start to trail. But yeah, I'm just seeing huge growth with this one, and I just keep this one in a bright indirect spot, bright indirect light most of the time. And yeah, I just keep it well watered. I kind of let it almost dry out, not quite. And yeah, it just seems really happy. And as I say, I haven't had it long, but it's growing really well, and it doesn't seem to be as tatty as some other Tradescantias, if you know what I mean. For example, the Tradescantia Nanook can kind of get a little bit tatty, but I don't know whether it does get tatty as it grows bigger. But so far so good. But yeah, I'm loving this one and really looking forward to seeing it growing even more too. It's a very rewarding plant to grow, and it gives you a lovely splash of colour too. Yeah, really happy with that one. Another plant that's growing really well for me at the moment is this Chinese money plant. And this was really small when I got it, but it just is growing so well. And the leaves are getting bigger too. It's a really stunning plant. Because it's so easy and so fast, it's another one of those plants that is just super rewarding to have in my collection. And it's really simple to take care of. I let it kind of dry out at the top, but not all the way. And yeah, it seems really happy. It just puts out leaf after leaf. I have it in kind of medium to bright indirect light. The light kind of changes through the day. But it just seems so happy, and it's so easy to care for. I would highly recommend this one. I originally mistook this one for a peperomia because there is a peperomia, I think it's peperomia raindrop, and it looks really similar to this, but it just has more of a teardrop shape. So I can see why I mistook it for that, but it's not a peperomia. And yeah, I can confirm it is super easy to care for, and I'd highly recommend you get one of these. Once they start getting big, I think they do need a little bit of support. Mine is starting to lean a bit because it's got quite a woody stem there. But yeah, really rewarding Chinese money plant. Definitely get yourself one of these if you haven't already. And if you're on a budget too, these plants are great to buy small because they grow fast. So some plants you want to buy big if they're slower growing, but with the plants I'm showing you today, I'd say it's fine to get a smaller plant if you're on a budget, because they grow super fast. If you are looking for a fast growing trailing plant, look no further than the Philodendron Brasil. This one does of course climb as well, so it's up to you whether you'd like to have it climbing or trailing, but I'll just stand up and show you try and show you the full length of this one. It has got so long, and I'm definitely thinking about propagating this one soon. I think I'm going to take some cuttings and pop them back in the pot. But yeah, this one, another one that's really rewarding to grow. This is one of my favourite plants. I love this plant. It is looking a bit bald on top, but you know, it's really easy to fill that out. You can take cuttings from the bottom here and propagate them and then plant them back in the top. Another thing you can do to make your plant fuller is you can pin the vines to the soil. Just make sure you've got an aerial root that is in contact with the soil, and yeah, it will root into the soil. So those are two great ways of propagating your plant and filling it out. But the great thing about this one is if you do want to propagate it and fill out the pot, because it grows so fast, it's no problem. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do that to mine soon. And yeah, they make quite a dainty trailing plant. I'll be honest, I did have mine on a pole, but I took it off because I got bored. So I do really like how they look on poles, but yeah, I got bored, and I'm quite glad that I've got mine trailing. But yeah, I'm still going to add some more plants to the pot. So highly recommend the Philodendron Brasil. This also comes in other variations. You see this one has the sort of the light lime green, almost yellow variegation. You could also get it with more of a more whitey variegation too. It's up to you really, whatever you like. And the kind of neat thing about this one is that when the leaves first come in, you can see they're kind of a little bit of a pinky orange colour. Same goes for the vines. And then they sort of turn this colour. Oh, I love plants that do that, that kind of look different when they first come through, and it's just lovely to watch them changing and growing. Another really prolific grower for me at the moment is the neon pothos. And one of you did comment actually to say that yours wasn't growing quite as fast. If yours isn't growing as fast, don't worry. As I said at the beginning of the video, these are the plants that are growing well and fast for me in my conditions. You might have different conditions, you might have different soil, you might have all sorts of variables. So don't be worried if yours isn't growing fast. You may have plants that are growing fast for you that aren't growing fast for me. That's okay. But yeah, back to the plant. This is the neon pothos, and again, I'll have to stand up to show you this one properly. It really is going nuts. In fact, this one is growing so much that I think it may need a repot, because it's needing water a couple of times a week, and that's quite a lot. So I think it may be due for a repot. And yeah, really stunning plant. I always go on about this one because of how fresh it is and how lovely this green is. But yeah, I think maybe I need to repot it, maybe do a little bit of propagating. But wow, just in love with this one. If you would like to have a trailing plant on your shelf, this one looks so cool. But also, again, with this one, you can have it climbing too. I've never actually tried this type of pothos climbing, but I expect it looks really cool. When you have a plant climbing, the leaves do tend to get bigger too. So it just depends what you're after really and what you like personally. This is my Syngonium Mottled, and this one is a floor plant. That's how big it's getting. And yeah, this one is growing so prolifically, and I'm actually going to have to propagate this one soon. It is growing over the top of its pole, and I'm just waiting for some of the new leaves to harden off so that I can propagate from it. But this is definitely one of my fastest growers, and I would say too, probably one of my favourite Syngoniums. Syngoniums in general do tend to grow quite quickly, but Syngonium Mottled, it has the gorgeous variegation that you can see on here, but at the same time it also grows really fast too. So highly recommend this one. I personally am obsessed with it, and yeah, it's almost time to propagate, as I say, and I've actually really been looking forward to propagating from this one because I really love it. It is getting a little bit maybe sparse at the lower part of the plant. Well, you know, old leaves, they naturally die off, and so there's a little bit of space, so I may replant them in to fill it in at the bottom there. But yeah, the variegation on this one is gorgeous, and I can't recommend this one enough if you're looking for something to climb. They do love something to climb, so I highly recommend giving your plant something to climb. The leaves will get bigger if you do, as I said before, and yeah, if you can get your hands on one of these, again, if you can usually get quite a cheap one. Mine wasn't expensive even for this slightly larger one, but you can get these quite cheaply now, so I'd highly recommend that you do that, and yeah, plant it and let it grow. And because it grows so quickly, you don't necessarily have to buy a massive one. Another plant that's growing super fast for me right now is the Monstera Adansonii. This is actually a propagation that I took, but I will also insert some clips of the mother plant, which is just here beside me. But yeah, this one is another one which grows prolifically. And if you're looking for something that will grow super fast, again, you can have this one trailing, or you can have it climbing up a pole, whatever you fancy. It really doesn't matter. It's just what you like personally in your home, but either way, it's still going to grow quickly, whether you have it climbing or whether you have it trailing. It's still going to grow super fast for you. And yeah, if you're very impatient, as I say, buy one of these. Even if you get a small one, as I've said with the other plants, it's going to be just fine because it's going to grow so quickly for you. With these, the care is really simple. All I do, let the soil dry out completely between watering. They don't like to be in direct sun. I find that they burn a little bit, so I usually like to keep mine in medium to bright indirect light. So mine is in medium light, I'd say, most of the day, maybe a bit of brighter light at certain times in the day, but yeah, mine grows really fast in those conditions. This is known for being one of those kind of really hardy plants, so definitely recommend this one to both beginners and experienced plant parents, really. I'm obsessed with this plant, basically, kind of like I am with the Syngonium Mojito. I'm also obsessed with this one, I love it. But yeah, Monstera Adansonii, highly recommend. This is another plant that's growing really fast for me at the moment. Again, I'm going to have to stand up to show you this one, but this is the Monstera Siltepecana, and this one really does grow so quickly. And again, you can have this as a trailing plant, as I have it here. It looks quite nice like this, or you can have it climbing and the leaves do get bigger again. But this one, again, as well as being a fast grower, is so easy to propagate. So I've already done that with mine, and I'll probably do it again. You can just take propagations, pop them back in the soil, and you can have even more vines growing. Or, as I said before, you can actually just pin the vine to the top of the soil. Just make sure one of these little aerial roots is in contact with it, and it will root like that too. So yeah, highly recommend this one. This one is certainly not rare, but I'd say it probably is maybe slightly more on the uncommon side, but you can certainly search online and find it. Again, you don't need to buy a really huge plant. You could just buy a small one and grow it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying watching this one thrive. Another easy care plant too. I just let mine dry out completely, water it, then repeat. Bright indirect light or medium light, and it's just fine, it grows great. Now I just had to cram another Syngonium in here. This is the Syngonium white butterfly. This one is the easiest one to get hold of. It's the one you'll probably find almost everywhere. And this guy is probably one of my fastest growers. This one here is actually a propagation that I took from a bigger plant, and that's another thing I always do with these fast growers. As I've been saying all along, I tend to propagate them a lot too, because it's really rewarding. You get really fast growth on the newly propagated plants, as I have with this one. They get bushy so fast, and yeah, you also get really fast growth on the mother plant too, so it's a win-win. Another plant that grows really quickly for me is the Iresine Herbstii Bloodleaf plant, and yeah, the key to getting this one to grow bushier and fuller is to chop and prop it, and yeah, it definitely responds well to being chopped and propped. Mine is growing like absolutely crazy, so yeah, I'd highly recommend this one. The more you chop and prop it, the more branches it's going to grow, the bushier it's going to get, and when you do chop it up, that encourages it to grow even more. So this one has just been going nuts, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to continuing to watch it grow. Highly recommend this one, especially if you are looking for a bit of colour too. Another plant that's growing really fast for me at the moment is this Dieffenbachia. It just keeps putting out leaf after leaf. It is so happy. Mine has actually slowed down a bit at the moment, and the leaves have got a little bit smaller because it's putting out a flower. So because it's putting some energy into making this flower at the moment, it is growing slightly smaller leaves, but a great way of combating that is you can just cut the flower off, and that's probably what I will do eventually, but I only just noticed it, to be honest, because it kind of looks like a leaf because it's green, so I've just left it for now to see what happens. I did type in Dieffenbachia flower into Google, and it told me that the plant will probably pass away, and everyone's being quite dramatic about it. Cut it off, but you know, whatever happens, it's not the end of the world, is it? It's just a plant, so I'm just going to see what happens. But yeah, when it's not flowering, this plant is very fast growing and the leaves are a little bigger, but we'll let it off right now because yeah, it's got that flower coming through. So what did you think of today's plants? I would love to know, as I said at the beginning of the video, what's growing well for you, whereabouts in the world are you, and what are your conditions like, because all those things, they add to whether a plant grows quickly or not for you. Really appreciate you being here today with me watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And until next time, as always, guys, take care of your plants and take care of yourself.